Welcome back to another episode of Laredo College Student Stories, where we feature Laredo College students. Today, Rosa McCabe Garcia is our guest. Rosa just recently graduated again from Laredo College. She was the student respondent for the summer commencement ceremony in the afternoon. Rosa, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm doing well. Congratulations.
Thank you.
This was your third degree from Laredo College, right?
Yes, my third.
All right, so take me through them. How many you have now?
2 associates and a bachelor's.
2 associates and a bachelor. When did you get the first one?
So my first associates was December of 2023.
Okay.
And then I got my bachelor's that following year in December. And after a conversation with Ms. El Toro, I was like, I'm only so many hours away from getting another one. I said, okay. So I came back.
Why not?
Yeah.
So what was the first associates in?
So it's just the general studies.
Okay.
Right. So the Associates of Arts.
At that point, what were you thinking you wanted to do with that?
I just needed my associates so I could get into the bachelor's program.
Gotcha. So it was a prerequisite to get into the Basorgo.
To get into the Basorgo program.
Talk to me about the Basorgo program. What was your takeaway from graduating from that program?
It was definitely something that taught me who I was as a leader. And they pushed me, right? Like they kind of like push you to be uncomfortable, but to make you successful, like grow out of your shell. So felt like a little hermit crab, getting out of my shell, going into a bigger one. It was a great experience, you know, all of the different professors that we had, because we have a handful of professors. We repeat them several times, but, you know, Dr. Guerrero, Dr. Carranza, they were amazing. You know, all the guidance and the real life experiential learning projects where we actually got to implement our skills was the most important part for me. You know, we were put into a project and we were able to practice what we were learning. So that was great.
You were also part of the first cohort to be a study abroad.
Yes.
And you went to Spain.
I did.
How was that? You've had quite the year, haven't you?
I did. It was such an amazing experience. So I'm 40 years old, right? We're not supposed to tell your age, but
I didn't ask. That's the thing. You're not supposed to ask a woman her age.
There you go. So I had never been out of, well, I won't say country because I had gone to Canada and Mexico, but for the exception of Canada and Mexico, I had never been out of North America, right? And to get to experience this as a student, you know, we were a small group, we were 15 people traveling, and it was running from the airport to the train station to the bus and make it. And, but it was so great, you know, that everything that we experienced, from the meals to the culture was very similar because we're Hispanic, right? So Spaniards. So the language wasn't a barrier, right? It was great. But it definitely was challenging because you're around people different ages, right? Yeah. So I kind of gravitated to the older crowd.
As far as the cohort was concerned.
But it was just amazing. Like we had a little mix of everybody, and just seeing the history, like being able to immerse yourself. And then you were actually learning while you were there. You know, Dr. Guerrero made it fun. She would give us different assignments that we had to do and work together. She would pair us in groups. We would gravitate to the same people, and she's like, nope, today you're going to be with these people. So it just made you go and not be cliquey. So it was great. It was an amazing experience.
You're pretty much forced out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that seems like that's the program, kind of like your entire time in the program, you're forced out of your comfort zone. What do you take away from an experience like that? I mean, you talked about the food, the culture, you know, overall, what do you take away from an experience like going to Spain?
You know, I wish I would have done it younger, you know, to be able to go. And I mean, it was a lot of walking. So I would definitely say get those steps in before. And she did tell us, you know, her and Miss Bianca were amazing. Miss Bianca, you know, had our itinerary. We knew what we were doing every time of the day. They're not called excursions, but like we had a tour group. So there was someone always assigned to us. Yeah. And they were also really great people, and the knowledge that they have. I mean, just being around the building, like they knew every nook and cranny, what everything meant, like every color, everything. It was just an amazing experience. My favorite was Cordoba, right? Okay. So we got to go to Cordoba, and it's like a little city, right? And you have to cross this big bridge to get into the city. And it was a Sunday, and we got to go to visit the church. But there was a lot of churches that we went to, and again, I'm talking about religious, right? But I'm Catholic.
That's okay.
So
am I.
and it was a Sunday, so I got to go to mass, and
Nice.
I got goosebumps. Like even right now, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It was awesome. And Dr. O did go to. She's like, Rose, if you want to go, I'll go with you, because we always had to stay in groups to be safe. Right, you're in a foreign country, so we were always on a buddy system, and we even had like a secret word. So we were always in a buddy system. And she's like, I'll go if you go, and I was like, okay, yeah. So we went, and I mean, just seeing how it used to be a Muslim mosque, and then it became Jewish, and then it became Catholic, right? But none of the parts of the church were ever taken down. Like, oh, we're going to destroy your mosque to melt. No, like, so you saw how it transitioned from, from one religion to the other. And then, of course, it just became the Catholic. But they left everything intact. The inscriptions in the walls, on the floors, the colors. It was just amazing.
Do you remember the name of the church?
It was in Cordova. It's a cathedral. I have it on my phone.
Yeah,
but
I'll look it up.
Yeah,
Now I'm intrigued. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. And everybody thinks the biggest Catholic church is the one in Barcelona, right? La Sagrada Familia, but it wasn't. So we got to go to the biggest one. I forgot the name of it. I should have done my homework. But like thinking about it right now is just making me nervous. So we did get to visit several, right? And being Catholic, like, it's just amazing, because these are churches that were built in the 1300 with nothing but marble. Like now everything's made out of concrete, but like these were made out of marble, like huge pieces of marble. And they would have to travel miles with the marble to be able to build it. So just seeing all of that, like it was just an amazing experience. So I would say if you have the opportunity, go.
Yeah. And what an amazing opportunity that you get to do it while you're taking classes here at Laredo College. And
yes.
You were fortunate to be the first cohort.
Yeah.
You talked about them assigning exercises or assignments. It seems a little unfair when you're traveling, but what kind of exercises?
So they were easy. Well, not easy, but like a scavenger hunt. Like look for something in this color, take a picture of it, and then we'd have to get the pictures and put them together, do like a little explanation, and submit it. Another one was get to talk to your roommates, see how they're feeling. You're traveling to a different country. You don't know how you feel. Everybody's going through different emotions. We're different ages. So it's like some people were nervous. Some people were, freaking out. Their kids were at home. And so I was a little bit of both, right? Like, uneasy, because it's my first time away from my children ever. So that was fun. But I mean, it was, she made it in a way to, it wasn't like, homework, but it was like a recap for the day. Like, what were your 2 favorite things, or, and we would always do a morning exercise, and it's just to keep the conversation flowing. And then at the end, you had to do like a video and submit it so that future cohorts can see what you experienced. So we each had to do that as an assignment, and hopefully the college would feature it so that they could see a little bit of through our eyes.
Sure. Let's talk about your academic journey. You said you started in 2023, so you took a while to come back to college.
Yes.
What happened?
So I was a mom at a very young age, and so I went to school throughout the throughout the years. But being a military wife and a mom always came first. So everybody came before mom always, in a good way, not in a bad way. Right?
You're not complaining about it. You're just saying.
No. So it was raising a family came first. And when my son graduated high school, he was like, well, I'm not going to go to school. Like, my husband is educated. He has a master's, thanks to the military, right? So when my son graduated, he's like, well, you didn't go to school, Mom, and you turned out good. So I don't think I'm going to go to school. And I was like, wait a minute, hold up. I only needed 10 classes to get my associates, because I had been going to school throughout the years.
So you had taken some classes here and there, but never really.
I never got to finish, right? And I was like, no. I was like, I'll go if you go. And he's like, bet. And I was like, okay. So he's actually graduating this December with his associates in welding,
Nice.
Associates of Arts in Welding from Del Mar College. So he's in Corpus. He's already got his big boy job, a big welder, so he's doing life, right? And it was thanks to my husband, right? So another shout out to Mr. Hernandez, right? He's Albert, amazing with the guidance.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what you need. Really, if it wasn't for that, I don't think I would have come back to school either, because I mean, the strain of having to go to school, I don't qualify for financial aid or anything like that. And this was an aid that made it possible. So if, being that we were allotted that opportunity, not everybody does, like those benefits are for my children and myself.
Yeah, nice little plug there for the Veterans Office, because that's what Albert Hernandez does. I mean, military, there's a lot of benefits available to them and their families. That's amazing. What was it like coming back after so long?
It was scary. Yeah. I was the oldest one in my classes. I was around kids that were 18 years old, freshly graduated. Nobody wanted to talk to me. I was a little loner. I was to myself, and it was hard because I'm an extrovert. So I like to talk to people, and everybody was like, "Oh, she's old." Like, I mean, they would talk to me. They were kind of like, "Oh,
Was it that you were quote unquote old, which you're not, or is it that the culture is different and they may not be as extroverted as back in the day?
Maybe that. I'll go with that.
Okay, good. So it wasn't because of your age then.
Yeah, no, I think everybody was like to themselves and their cliques. But one thing I will say, coming back to school, joining a club was amazing. Like, I met a lot of friends. Being in Impact and being in Globe was just so different for me. Like, it helped me become a better leader, because I was president for both clubs, different times, right? But it was one of those things where, hey, let's do community service, or let's go do this. And I had to get people together, and let's go do this. And it was such a great opportunity to meet people. So I will say, like, if you guys are new to school and you want to learn or become a part of a group, join a club. Any club. Yeah. Right? Like, there's so many good clubs.
Are Impact and Globe two different organizations?
Yes.
And what are they?
So Impact is the one that we have with the Basorgo. That one is for the community service, right? Okay. So they do more of helping the community. They did different fundraisers, both at the Fall Fest and the Fun Fest, but they also do other events throughout the year, right? So that's with Impact. Globe was for the study abroad organization. So we were building, help generate funds so that we could give stipends to the students that want to go, and leave it for the students that are coming in so that they won't have to start from zero. So we did fundraisers for that, and we also donated money for the Palomino Pitch Fest. Okay. So it was helping for that incubator as well.
Now, were you able to join those organizations when you were getting your associates, or did you have to wait until you got into the Basorgo?
No, when you're in your associates, like, you can join, but I didn't know about them until I joined the Basorgo. Because they were like, hey, we need people, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. Like, what do I have to do? And we did a turkey drive. We went to go give out food. We were at I forgot the name of the organization. It's through the Catholic ministries or diocese. Every Thanksgiving they do a turkey drive. Okay. So we were passing out the food. The people had to be on the list. We put them in order, and then we gave out the food. So we were there organizing that and helping with that. We did food drives, and I think they also did like a dog food drive as well for a shelter. And every year they have a different goal. When I was there, we donated money to Sacred Heart, and they were raising funds to take them to SeaWorld. So we raised $2,500 to be able to give them money for the bus so that they could take all of the children to SeaWorld. So that was when I was there. So and I really enjoyed the giving back aspect of it. When I was a kid, my dad had us in everything, with the Knights of Columbus and, all these other organizations. And I was an altar server, so I was always very involved in the church. And, so giving back has always been in me. Yeah. But then I never knew, like, you could do that in school too. Yeah. So it was so great.
You were educated here in Laredo. Where did you go to school here?
Yeah, I am a proud graduate of Martin, from the Four Corners, Line Decker Christian Martin. Okay. So yeah, proud graduate. I was a Tiger. I was a leader there too. I was in band. I was a drum major. I was in mariachi.
Oh,
Like I
nice.
did everything. I'm telling you.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so when you got out of Martin, did you take classes initially or you just never
I
did?
did.
Yeah.
I started at TAMIU,
Okay.
and but then at my family, right? So once I had my son, it was a little more difficult, and I did like like a whole year at TAMIU, and then I came to LC, and it was just like intermittent.
Yeah.
But I never had the head to like fully commit, or
Yeah.
I never had the time because my kids were younger. Now my kids are older. My oldest is about to be 22. My middle son's going to be 18, and my youngest is 13. So my kids, like, they're all self-sufficient.
Yeah. So now you can do what you want to do for yourself.
Yeah.
Well, you already did, really.
Yeah.
So, and I hear this phrase a lot. Life gets in the way.
Yeah.
And it does for a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people come back like you.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing journey that you came back. When you came back in 2023, were you full time? Yeah. So you
Yeah.
committed yourself to coming back for good.
Yeah, I came back full time. There was a change in my work environment, and so I had more flexibility, and I was able to come and devote myself to school
Yeah.
and just be like, hey, I'm gonna finish. And the simple fact that LC changed it that semester to where it was you can do 2 semesters
Right.
in 1 semester. So the 8-week
The 8 weeks, yeah.
8-week semesters, that is what helped me also
Really?
graduate
That's
sooner.
interesting.
Because being able to take 3 classes in 3 classes, I took 6 classes instead of 4 classes, which is considered full time,
Yeah.
right? It was a lot. Don't do it if you can't. But I will say it was. I had the time for it, right? So I just devoted myself, and it really paid off.
What has your experience with Laredo College been like? What can you tell us about being here at LC?
I felt like it was my second home,
Yeah.
like I didn't want to leave. I was like, okay, what can I do now, Miss Patty? It was so amazing, just the support that I had from everybody. They knew who I was, like, oh, there's Rosa. I set a goal for myself, and the very first time I went to an awards, I had just joined Impact. I wasn't anything. I was a nobody. You get nominated, but you're competing against people that had been presidents of clubs and all the things that they had done and achieved in the 2 years. And it's like, wait a minute, I've just been here a semester and now I'm here. And I saw that golden palomino and I was like, I really want that one. And just setting that goal for me and having the people be here so inviting, so welcoming. Dr. Minita, Dr. Ortiz, like everybody, you can go up to them and talk to them and they know you by name, like it's so special to me. And being able to have that open communication with your professors, Dr. McDonald, Ms. Ramirez, or Mr. McDonald, Ms. Ramirez, Mr. Maldonado, though in my accounting, like I love them. They were amazing, like there's teachers and then there's those who are like awesome, right? Like they make an impact on you. Again, Albert, Dr. G, Dr. Carranza, Dr. Silva, like all of them, like they actually care about you. And again, I felt like I didn't want to leave. I was like, can I stay longer? Like, can I do something else? Like it was just great. So I really, really enjoyed it here.
Yeah. And the interesting thing about Laredo College is that if you want to come back, there's certificates, there's other things you can do, so you're always welcome to come back.
Yeah.
Maybe you will, right? When did you find out you were going to be the student respondent?
A week before graduation. It was so not expected. Again, like I had done a lot, right? And I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but like this was a very good year for me, right? Like I got the Golden Palomino. I traveled abroad to Spain. I was a part of the first cohort. I finished my associates. I was like, oh, I'm not going to go to graduation.
You weren't going to walk?
I had already gotten my bachelor's. I felt like an imposter. Like,
did you walk the first associates?
I did.
Okay.
I did. I walked the first one, and then I walked the second one, and then this one. I mean, my family, my husband, my kids were there, but my mom wasn't able to come because she already had a trip planned.
Oh.
So my parents couldn't come, or my sisters, and so they were mad. Like not mad, but they were like, you said you weren't going to walk. And I was like, I know, but they called me and they asked me, and how can I say no,
Yeah,
you know? And
exactly.
I really thought about it for a second. I was like, should I do it? Like, who wants to hear from me, you know? Like, who am I? But I was so honored that
Yeah.
Ms. Ramirez, you know, thought of me and said like, hey, Rosa, like, I think you would be perfect for this, you know. First, are you going to graduation? And second, are you going to come out? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to graduation because my brother-in-law was graduating with his associates. So he actually is in the Basorgo program. So he, you know, he needed his
Yeah.
associates to go into Basorgo and all that stuff. So um, I was like, yeah, like I'm going to go to graduation.
So at that point, you weren't going to walk. You were just
No,
coming.
I was just coming.
Okay. A
Yeah.
week before.
A week before.
All right.
So it was Tuesday before graduation when she
Okay.
reached out to me. And then I was like, I turned and I looked at my husband. I said, what do you think? And he's like, well, I mean, they thought of you. Of all the students graduating, they said, hey, Rosa would be a good fit for this. And he's like, we're going to graduation anyways. Just get your cap and gown.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're right. Let's do it. So, yeah.
And who asks you? How do you get that? Who makes that call?
So they needed to select someone that was graduating like with like honors, right?
Right.
So I did have the not the highest honors, but the honors. So yeah, I graduated with honors, and Ms. Ramirez reached out to me. I had also I was in the program for the accounting associates, but I also got my certificates, right?
Okay.
And when you're doing your classes, they give you the option to test for different certifications within the industry, right? So like QuickBooks
Right.
certifications. And there were two that we were supposed to do, which is the QuickBooks Online and the QuickBooks Bookkeeper. So in the first semester, in the fall of last year, I had received the QuickBooks Online certification. And then in the second semester, I did the QuickBooks Bookkeeper. And then Ms. Ramirez was like, well, there's three other ones if you want to do them. I mean, they're kind of like self-assessed, or you know what, like just try it and
Yeah.
see what you think. And I was like, okay. And I took them and I passed all of them on the first try. So I had gotten that recognition earlier in I want to say April board meeting.
Okay.
So they presented me with my five certifications. So that was like really cool.
Sure.
And so I think because I had gotten those awards, because I had gotten the Golden Palomino, they were like, hey, you know, she would be a good fit when they were thinking of students. And, you know, I guess they were going down the list, and I said yes.
What is the Golden Palomino Award?
So it's the highest honor a student can get for going above and beyond with both your community and your student programs, right? So I was in Globe, I was a president, and previous to that, I was in Impact. So just the impact that I made
Okay.
with both groups. I was nominated against, I competed, or I guess you can say competed, right? Against 8 different students, and they only selected 3. So I was one of 3 recipients. So that to me was such an honor. You know, you couldn't get me off the clouds, you know, it was so awesome. It was,
Yeah.
but I set a goal in my mind. I never said it out loud, but in my mind I said, you know what, like I'm going to get that Golden Palomino. And I did. So it was so great.
You willed it into existence.
I did. You have to
Actually, it
speak
was your
it.
hard work.
Yeah.
Did you have a career in mind, or did you already have a career in a certain field when you came into this?
So I was an independent insurance broker.
Okay.
So I do insurance. I'm an entrepreneur, right? So I just wanted to be a better leader. I've had bad leaders in my previous jobs, and I always told myself I don't want to be that person, right? So I said, I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to go to school. When I learned about the Basorgo program, I was like, this is exactly what I need. It's a leadership program. I want to be a good leader. I want to be someone that someone wants to be a part of my group. I don't want to be that person like, ugh, here's that person, you know? So I said, you know what? This is exactly what I need. I am an entrepreneur, so I have my own bookkeeping business. I have several clients that I do bookkeeping for.
Gotcha.
And then I work with nonprofits as well.
Nice. So you already had a career track, if you will, and this was just to add to your leadership skills.
Yes.
Nice. And now you are working for a nonprofit, correct?
I am.
Yeah.
I am. I'm working with Laredo Main Street.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how does that feel?
It's so good.
Yeah.
I'm the program specialist. So what I do is I help with the different programs, and the program that I created or help create is our community bundle bags. So what that is we're working in conjunction with the city, and every month we donate 40 bags of food with up to a $50, or they're worth $50 each bag, and we get products from our vendors. So each bag every month has something different. This past month it had salsa matcha, it had some sourdough bagels, it had some banana bread, and some cookies, and what was the fifth thing? I forgot the fifth one, but we had like 5 different items for our, and the city of Laredo gives us those names every month. This month we did teachers. The previous month it was the stroke survivors, and the month before that it was like families with autism and their providers.
So you're right back to giving back again.
Yeah,
So that's your comfort zone.
Yeah, it feels so good to be able to give back. And when I started my experiential learning project, I remember Miss Amanda put me with Sacred Heart, and I'm like, I'm not a teacher. They were grouping us, and all those people were like in the teaching field.
Okay.
And I was like, why are they putting me?
The children's home, right? Sacred Heart Children's Home. Okay.
Sacred Heart, but we were teaching English as a second language.
Oh, got you. Okay.
So I was like, well, I'm not a teacher. Like, why? Miss Amanda, I think there was something wrong here. I remember telling her, and she's like, no, you're there for a reason. She's like, your leadership skills is why I need you there. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And then I understood like what my role was. And yeah, I was, the person that would be like, okay, this is the schedule that we have. These are the days that we're going. Like that was me executing that part. Like I still did, of course, the teaching as well, but having to get everybody in order, because like there was nobody to say like, oh, I'll do this day, or so I was the one like, okay, either you say or you're gonna be voluntold, right? So that was like my role.
Yeah.
So
what would you tell any student that's about to get started here at Laredo College? What would you tell them?
I would definitely say turn to the person next to you and introduce yourself. Make a friend, because you never know how much of a difference that, hey, how are you, is going to make. And I'm going to tell you a funny story, and it's a little embarrassing and I might cry, but I remember one day I had just gotten out of school. It was a day that was raining. Earlier in the morning, I had slipped and fallen. There was like those little seeds on the floor, and it was wet. So I slipped and I fell, and I got up, and I was like so embarrassed. So later on in the day, I was like, oh my goodness, like why? And I picked up my hands, and the person that was coming thought I was giving them a hug. So I gave them a hug, and it was like, I don't know if they needed the hug more than I did.
Oh my goodness.
But it was like random act of kindness. So I will say, be kind. You never know what people are going through. Join a club. If you feel lonely, make a friend. Like just turn to the person. Like I would sit in the cafeteria by myself eating, and like sometimes I felt like, why wouldn't I just go sit with people? Like, hey, can I sit with you? Like just make conversation. So yeah, like be that person. Go sit down or say hi. You never know. Like a smile can change, or like even throwing your hands up in the air, someone's gonna give you a hug.
What was their reaction, by the way?
They were like, hi, okay. Like,
okay.
Yeah, like that. But they gave me a hug, and I started crying after that. I was so overwhelmed, like with emotions.
Sure.
I don't know. I cry for everything, but it was really hard that because you fell, you're like embarrassed almost, and
you don't know who's watching.
You don't know
that
who's
kind
watching.
Of thing,
Luckily, there was like nobody there when I fell, but like that day I was just like, oh, frustrated because that had happened to me, and I was like, why, And then the person saw me and they gave me a hug, and I was like, like I don't know if you meant to hug me or not, but thank you for the hug. If you remember who I am, I never asked their name.
Really?
But it was.
That's a beautiful story.
Yeah, it was different.
To anyone who is on the fence about coming to Laredo College at any age, what would you tell them?
Don't be afraid. You're never too old. Don't let them. I had that stigma. I was like, oh, I'm too old to go to school. Again, like, and when I was doing my speech, right, I was practicing at home with my son, and that one part of my quote, right, from that movie Kung Fu Panda. I don't know if you
I heard that. Okay. Yeah, I did hear it.
So yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, but today's a gift. That's why it is called the present. And Master Oogway from Kung Fu Panda said it. And my son started laughing, and he's like, Mom, why are you going to say that? And I was like, because everybody can relate to that.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry about yesterday. Worry about today. Don't worry about tomorrow. Just go. And if you feel that people are saying things about, it's in your head.
Yeah.
Like, don't believe it. And it's never too late. Like, don't give up on your dreams. Because I'm a testament. Like, I graduated at 3 times, going hopefully for a 4th, but for a master's this time. So, and don't believe what they say, or don't listen to those voices in your head. And after graduation, I had young people coming up to me, people I had never met, and they were like, "You're so inspiring. Like, thank you for saying that." And, like people that were 18 years old, because it was like my friend's daughter. She's like, "Oh my God, Rosa, you made me cry." My friend told me. And then her daughter was like, "Oh, I didn't know you were my mom's friend." She's like, "But I wanted to come up to you and tell you thank you. Thank you for saying that." She's like, "Because like sometimes I don't believe I belong." And, like everything you
Even
said,
after
like
all
just
this.
do it. Yeah.
Or she was telling you, or
Yeah,
you were
she
saying,
was
oh,
telling
gotcha,
me.
gotcha.
She's like, I felt like I didn't belong, right? And so she's like, but when you said, apply for the job, do this, like go for it. Don't let anybody tell you no. She's like, you were talking to me. Like, I didn't know what I was going to do after this. I was like, I'm not going to go to school, but I'm going to go. Like, thank you for saying that. And I know that it's something simple, or believing in yourself makes a big difference. And having that support, and my husband's support. I supported him when he went to school. He has associates, a bachelor's and a master's. And he was like, "Why wouldn't I believe in you? Like you believed in me when I was going to school. So why wouldn't I do the same for you?" And because at first I was like, "Oh, it's kind of dumb for me to go back to school." And he's like, "Why would you say that?" He's like, "Don't say that. Like don't let that negative talk."
Yeah.
He's like, "Because once you get that negative talk in your head, it's not like you're going to let that bring you down."
Yeah.
He's like, "So don't do that." So I would say, talk to someone, join a club, and see what you like. There's so many different clubs now.
Sure.
And I love that. 20 years ago when I came to school, I didn't know about clubs. Maybe there were clubs. I'm sure they've been around for a long time. But it wasn't as active as we are now. You see them at the Kaizen passing out T-shirts, passing out flyers. It is so awesome to see everybody together, or when they do those different events, that they do that movie night at the pool, or, go get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, we have Welcome Week coming up, and there's a ton of activities.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to be there, huh?
Well, with a table for my nonprofit.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
Are you already committed to the Masters, or are you still thinking about it?
I'm gonna start in the spring. My son is a senior. Nice. So yeah, my son is a senior and it's football season. So I was like, I'm not gonna do that to myself right now.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
but you're committed to doing it then.
Yeah.
What is something that I didn't ask you that you want to mention before we wrap up?
I think you pretty much got everything.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. Unfortunately, you can't get your master's here.
I know.
But if you come back for another degree here for whatever reason, come back and see us, and I'll interview you again.
No, thank you. And I know I felt again like imposter syndrome. Like, why do they want to talk to me? But I'm so honored, and my journey is different than others because some people come straight from school, and I didn't. So, if you're like me and you haven't been to school in a while, don't be afraid. Come back.
Well, you earned it. You earned everything that's come to you so far, and you're going to earn whatever comes down the path. So, Rosa, congratulations on all of your success, continued success, and God bless you the rest of the way.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.